What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. I just wanted to show you these new shirts that we got, Young, Black, and Hopeful. You can head to the website and grab one. Till Infinity Clothing. The website is tillinfinityco.com. And so check it out. I think you guys will like it. It's great quality, thick. It's very thick, actually, and multiple colors. So check it out. Yo. What's up, everybody? My name is Juwan Rohan. This is the Misguided Podcast. We intend to guide you to a better future. I'm sitting here with Anthony Ferrell out of Dallas, a videographer and photographer. Good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
How's life?
Life is good, man. No complaints.
Oh, man. That's good. What today is Saturday morning. What do you got planned today?
Of course, this podcast, but I also have a couple shoots later on in the afternoon. So this is just the start of my day.
There you go. Your weekends tend to be busy with shoots and stuff, right? Because that's when everyone's free.
Honestly, 7 days a week.
Really? Hey, man. Okay. Do your thing. That's awesome, man. Cool. Well, I like to, before we get into the podcast, I like to give a little background to the audience of how I found you.
Okay.
Because it's always different. It's always a different story. So I found you on TikTok. I saw a couple of your videos once, and then I was actually looking into like purchasing some new camera stuff. And so I had, how like people used to go to, people still do, but people go to Google and type in like, all right, DJI camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now a lot of people are going to TikTok to do that. And so I was like, oh, let me try that. So I went to TikTok search and I was like DJI wireless microphone. And your videos were one of the first that popped up, and I was like, oh, I've seen this guy before. Yeah, you were. Or it was probably like video 3, but I had seen you before on my timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, let me click on it. And then you started talking about the camera and everything. And so, yeah, that's how I found you. I reached out. I was like, oh, cool. And then I reached out to you and was like, hey, do you want to come on the podcast? You got some really cool content. You're explaining what equipment to use. You do that a lot. And what equipment works best for you. And you got a really dope setup, man. So thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Nice. So let's go ahead and get into your story. Where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Texas, but I spent half my life in Texas and Arkansas. And then, I kind of moved to Tennessee. It's a long story, but Texas and Arkansas, those are my roots.
Okay. Texas and Arkansas. You kind of got like an Arkansas accent a little bit, or am I tripping? Am I tripping?
I really don't know what the accent in Arkansas is.
Okay. I hear a little down south, and I don't necessarily consider like Texas down south. I mean, even though it is, but
I mean, you got to be in certain parts of Texas. I'm in the urban part. If you find yourself in the sticks, then you'll hear those accents.
Yeah, that's true. I used to go to Dallas a lot. I played basketball in Colorado, and so like Texas was in our conference, and so we would fly to Texas all the time. And to be honest, I hated it, but now I think I'm starting to like it more. But only certain parts. Like I really, really love Austin, and Dallas is okay. And I love Houston, obviously. Like everyone.
You love Houston? More power to you.
I love Houston. I do love Houston. I do.
It's just the driving for me. If it wasn't for if I was being chauffeured in Houston, maybe I'd love it too.
Yeah.
But I'm always the one behind the wheel.
Oh yeah, nah. I was using Uber out there, but that's
See,
cool, man.
There you
go. Yeah. Okay, so from Texas, moved around a bit, and then tell me a little bit about. Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is maybe like 20 minutes from Nashville.
Okay, what'd you study?
Funny enough, I went to school for audio, so I have a degree in audio engineering.
Oh, that's why you're so good. That makes sense.
The whole package.
Yeah,
well-rounded.
man. Yep. That's cool. What made you want to go to school for audio? Like, have you always been interested in this type of stuff as a kid?
Oh man. Back in high school, I was making music, I was in band. My life was really centered around the arts. Um, and I think I was maybe 11th grade. I had a teacher. She was like, "Yeah, my brother goes to school for audio. He wants to be an engineer." And in my head, I'm just like, bro, they have a school for that. You can go to school, and at first, I'm thinking like it's like some kind of community college experience. It's not really big. Middle Tennessee is, I think, by population, the biggest public university in Tennessee. So it was a massive school. And for people that don't know, MTSU is actually where Tay Keith graduated from as well.
Hmm. Okay. No, yeah.
So
Yeah, I know he did actually go to college. That's crazy. You guys aren't like the same age or anything, right? Or are you?
Tay Keith is maybe like 2 or 3. He's not much younger than me. As I was graduating, he was in the second year.
Okay. What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 2017.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm 2016.
Okay, I mean it should have been 2016, but
Yeah, hey,
classes I
hey,
had to.
stuff happens, man. Stuff. I love the honesty, man. So how was college for you? Like, what, like, were you just strictly focused on audio and getting the hell out of there? Did you party a lot? Kind of tell me a little bit about that.
I'm an introverted person by nature, so I didn't party,
Bro,
but
you're
I
on the
also
camera
wasn't.
all the time. How the hell did that happen?
I it's
Yeah.
a long story. I look for the longest. I would try to avoid the camera as much as I could. But then I realized that it was easier to engage with people if people knew who I was. So
Mm,
that's how the camera thing came about. But in college, I stuck to myself. I had like a small friend group. I didn't party. If my idea was having a good time, it's maybe having like 5 or 6 friends together and we're just chilling, playing games, listening to music, making music. That was really my college experience. Like I can say, I can give you without a shadow of a doubt, I didn't go to one college party. I didn't pay for any parties. I was
that's
just like, bro, you want me to pay to have a good time with people that I see every day?
Wait, they were
No.
charging at parties?
Yeah, doc. To get in, $5 at the door, $10 at the
That's
door.
great. That's so smart. Like, I wish I would have done that, but that's our school definitely did do that. You could walk from
No.
party to party to party. Like, that's crazy.
And the thing
Okay.
is where we lived, we had you have TSU, Tennessee State University. We got Fisk. We got Vanderbilt. Every college is all in one vicinity, so they all partied together.
Mm, that makes sense. That makes sense. So tell me, how'd you get into videography and photography?
Photography was I actually had a homie. His name was Ferrell, and at the time, I felt like I was spending so much time sitting at a computer making music. I was like, bro, I need to find a way to get out the house. So my brother was like, hey man, I'm going to go take some pictures downtown. You want to come? And I was like, sure, we can get out the house. And come to find out, while watching them work, I was just like, okay, that actually looks kind of cool. Um, I'm not really sure I'll be any good at it, but I'm just like, it's just a camera. And
It's just a
I didn't
camera.
at the time. I was like, I didn't even know that they got paid for it, but I eventually found out that they got paid for that, and I was like, that's even cooler just to get paid to take pictures. So fast forward maybe a month or two, my homie decided to take a impromptu trip to Chicago. I had never been to Chicago. I didn't have any money, but he was like, bro, you can ride. And I was like, you know what? Why not? So during there, he gave me his camera. He said, bro, just take pictures, do whatever you want. He didn't really tell me how to take pictures. He just kind of let me do my own thing. And honestly, it was probably the most joyful experience I had ever had, just to kind of live in my
That's
own
awesome.
world. So that was really the beginning. And kind of when I got back to Tennessee, I was just like, should I buy a camera? I'm a broke college student. I can't really afford it, but I got some credit somewhere.
I
So
got some fast for somewhere.
somewhere sitting around. So eventually, I think, and it was so random. Someone texted me out of nowhere. It's like, hey, I saw those pictures in Chicago. Would you take pictures for me? And I was just like, you know what? Let me press that order button. And from that was really the start of it all.
What was your first camera?
It was a matter of fact, it was a Sony A6000. So this will it focus on me instead of looking for my face.
Yeah.
But I had this camera for maybe 3 years before I broke it. It still works, but the LCD is broken.
How'd you break it?
Well, I knew he was gonna ask that question.
Yeah.
So I was taking some couples photos for some friends, and the night before it rained super heavy, and they wanted to do something kind of like naturey. and I just knew it was going to be muddy. So we were out shooting, and I saw a patch of mud, and I was trying to jump over it. I did jump.
Just not over it.
Foot caught it. I hit the ground, and the corner of it just popped.
Ah,
And the funny thing is they didn't even try to help, bro. They just like, hey, can you still shoot?
stop lying. Oh my God.
So
Damn.
yeah,
All right.
that was the end of that one.
Yeah, that's it. How much is that camera? Like, is that a good starter camera?
I think this is a great starter camera. I think when I bought it at the time, it came with a lens. No, I think I bought this camera and a lens separate because the lens was super cheap. So altogether, I think I spent around 758 on this camera, but that's with the body and a different lens. So the lens was probably 200. So you probably could have got this with the kit lens for maybe 600.
Let's talk about best cameras for like starters and best budget ones. So like do you advise to get a camera and a video camera at the like in one, or do you advise to get them separately?
I think nowadays everything is switching to that hybrid kind of both doing photo and video. Every camera that I recommend is going to be a mirrorless camera, and if you know anything about mirrorless cameras, they are great hybrid cameras overall. They can do both photo and video. It's just when it comes to certain specs that you really kind of start differentiating which one you should get. But yes, I do recommend getting something that can do both. There's no point in having nowadays. There's no point in having two cameras to do two different things, especially if you're just starting out.
Yeah. Okay. What can you guess what camera I'm using right now?
Are you recording with this camera?
Yeah, yeah. Like one
Okay,
like live streaming.
live streaming.
Live
And
streaming.
can you change the lens on this camera?
I can. It's a beginner
Okay,
camera. It's a starter camera.
it's a starter camera. Is it mirrorless?
Shit. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Most people tend to lean towards Canon if they're
Yep.
first starting out.
Yep.
So I'm thinking it's what's that? Is it an EOS?
Yeah. Keep going. You know
E-
what number?
Yeah, nah, I don't.
T
It's not
T6.
T6. Okay.
Damn, that was good though. That was good. Yeah, yeah. I have a photographer friend. I actually bought this camera like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even more than that. But that told me this was a good starter one. It was like $359 at the time. Came with
Mm,
the body and the lens. I think
in a
even
bag.
it came with two lenses
In a bag.
and a bag and everything. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm getting that, and then it's been great ever since. The only thing is like the figuring out the live stream was pretty hard, but now I got it down. We good. I had to like get a external plugin, but
Capture card.
yep, it was super cheap. And it's been cool because EOS sucks in reality, but then I just upgraded because I'm doing live interviews in person, but in vlog style. And
Hmm.
so I got this Sony ZV-E10. What do you think about that
Hmm.
camera?
That's actually, I think it's a great camera, especially for vlogging. That style of content is super light.
Yeah.
I love just how the video looks, and I think it comes with like a little windbreaker that you can put on top of the mic, so that helps too.
Yeah,
So,
it's probably one of my favorite like purchases, and I was like, it took me like a year to purchase it because I was just like, do I need it? But man, the video quality is just so much better than like on this Canon. I can't do video for longer than 12 minutes, so I needed something that can do unlimited video, right? Because if I'm doing a
mhm,
podcast, I'm not going to be turning it on and off, right? And so this has been really cool, and the best of all is I love that the lens is changeable, so I'm
mhm.
not just limited, and I could just put it in my little pouch, like little pouch about this big, and take it wherever the hell I go. So wherever I travel, if I go to LA to do an interview, Houston to do an interview, it's super
It just
easy.
works.
It just works. Yeah. Canon, I gotta carry the whole bag with the two lenses. Gotta change
Nah,
every 12 minutes.
Now, funny enough, the only reason I'm so good at that part is because I used to sling cameras at Best Buy for like a couple years.
Oh, okay. Ah, that cheater. You cheating, man.
Hey, it's just a life hack, man.
Yeah, yeah.
But
What camera are you working with? What and how much is the camera you're on right now?
um, my main camera is my Sony A7 IV. The body alone is 2500. But I have three lenses. I actually have two cameras that I use and three lenses. But the lens I'm using right now is my 24, and I think it's rated 1,000. Just for that. So that setup is about 3,500 before tax.
Tell me, like, what's the like? Why do you choose this one to use for your video recording as opposed to the other one? Like, do you see a huge difference? And then also, do you really see a huge difference from a $2,500 camera to, let's say, my Sony ZV was about 800?
Um, it's a little bit of a tough question because truthfully, I mean, with the right lighting, I can make both cameras look good, but um, the codec differences as far as like the formats that they record in, one is much easier for me to work with on this A7 IV than my A7 III. And plus my A7 III, it has some 4K. It does 4K, but it's not like doesn't look as good as I think it looks on here because this camera samples down from 6K. So it's just like it's those little things, and it's just like if I had to work with my A7 III, I could do it, but it's just an easier experience on my A7 IV. So I think the answer to that question is yes, you can
Convenience.
see a difference,
Mhm.
but it's really that convenience. And when you're doing something professionally, you don't want to have to be fighting your gear
Yeah.
in order to get the quality that you want.
Yeah, one more question about cameras. I mean, the whole podcast is gonna be about it, but as far what do you think about the Canon Mark IV? I believe that's a pretty popular one.
The 5D Mark IV.
Yeah.
I think it's a phenomenal photo camera. Though that series of cameras in general is the Mark One, Two, Three, and Four. Those are, I would say, they're very heavily focused on photo. Granted, they will do video, but from what I understand, the file sizes that come out of those cameras are much bigger than they need to be, simply because Canon hasn't developed a codec that really meshes well with that specific camera.
Got it.
But that camera isn't a mirrorless camera; it's a DSLR, so
Mm-hmm.
that
Got it.
makes
Got it.
sense too.
Got it. Got it. Is the editing process tedious to you? Like, do you actually enjoy sitting in front of the screen and looking at it and editing the picture for a very long time?
So you remember when I told you how I started getting into photography because I wanted to spend less time at the computer?
Yeah, you
I
spend.
infinitely spend more time at the computer now because of
Mhm.
editing. But
Well,
I think things
that's the same thing as like people saying, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I want to be self-employed. Then they get into that self-employed world and they like,
you know, like
damn, I'm always working, huh?
facts, facts. So I do spend quite a bit of time editing. Like I'm any free time I'm getting, I'm like I need to edit a picture or two. But I actually enjoy the process. I think that part is just as important as when you captured it. Not that I'm spending editing the editing process trying to fix things I mess up. I'm just trying to like personalize it and make it my own. And I really enjoy that part. I think people that spend time editing trying to fix their mess ups, those are the people that really hate editing.
Yeah, no, no, no. I feel it. That I it's kind of like the same thing as like, all right, when I was like, ooh, starting a podcast would be very nice, right? Like, and then I didn't really think about like, oh, like I gotta be at the computer and actually edit after, right? And make
Mhm.
sure because I don't want to spend money, right, every time. So but now I'm kind of like learning to delegate and
Mhm.
send it off. And also with like the new programs they got, Chat GBT, they got a automated software that now edits your videos for you and cuts it into pieces. So it's like it's pretty crazy out here.
Trying
Um,
to take my job.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. Um, but yeah, man. Speaking of starting off, what was the first mistake you made?
Shoot. What was the first mistake I made? Um,
Come on, I know you still think about it.
Mm, I mean, there's so many. I mean, honestly, I think the first big mistake I made was doing too much for free.
Okay.
Um, so it's just like I think in college I understood that if I wanted to um, get clients, I definitely had to show them what they were getting. Um, but I was really like breaking my back for just literally pennies on the dollar, like or nothing at all. And I think what happened was is that I put myself in a market that I didn't want to be in. People,
Mm.
started branding me as a cheap photographer, and that wasn't what I wanted. I just wanted more work. So that was definitely the biggest mistake, but not anymore.
Yeah. When did you kind of see that shift from when you were, working for free to, oh, like I'm actually making some money?
Mm. I think it was maybe a couple years after I graduated college, because most of my income when I first started was from college graduates. And if you know anything about being in college, we broke.
Yeah, yeah.
We ain't got no money, so it's just like I was giving prices and like I can't really afford that. Can you do this? And I was like, sure. But as I got out of, because I didn't want to be 30 years old working on college campuses with graduates. That just ain't what I want to do. So I think once I got out and realized that, hey, I want clients that are going to be willing to spend more money for quality work. And I think the hard part of that is learning how not to back down on yourself, because you'll go a month, two without any bookings, and you're like, should I lower my prices back?
Yeah.
But I think that really hit home for me when I moved back to Texas a couple years ago, and I realized it's like, hey, I'm not backing down on my prices because eventually, once I get one person to pay at this price, I know I can get more to pay at that price because those people will go tell their friends and so on and so on. And that's really what happened.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about like the business aspect of it because as you said, you're
Mhm.
an introvert, you're focused on photography and the editing part. Those are things you like, but do you actually like the business aspect of it? Appointment scheduling, collecting the money, all that stuff, right? Taxes. Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, Lord, let's not talk about taxes.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the process of doing taxes now, which thankfully is going fine.
Yeah.
But from the business aspect of it, I don't think unless your focus is business, I don't really know many people that just enjoy the business aspect of running a business. Um,
I do.
especially,
I do. I like the
but you focus on
operational.
finances.
I'm okay. Maybe actually, I probably don't even enjoy the finance part of it. I think I enjoy like the business aspect of it
Mhm,
and watching it grow. So like knowing that I can go in and tweak something and then
mhm,
see the final photo, right?
mhm.
I do enjoy that a little bit.
So I would say, I guess as a creative, I don't really enjoy that process because
Mhm.
for me, I'm focused on like, oh, how can I create the most dope, project and do this, and the third on their budget.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and it's cool, like I can still do it, but it's also in my head, it's just like it's something else that I need to dedicate my time to. So that's really kind of where I'm at. I hope to one day get to a point where I can delegate this stuff out to other people that can do it for me. And then that way I can solely focus on the actual creative process and the journey. But for now, I can do it. I've never been the person to just like, oh, I'm just going to avoid this. I'll still do it. It's not something that excites me.
Yeah. Have you thought about kind of, you just said delegation, but have you thought about getting like a team of photographers and videographers so when you get so busy you can, hey, John, you're on this appointment, right? And start
Mhm.
delegating you take like the appointments you want to take?
I mean, yes and no. I kind of do something like that, but for me, it's never been really about the money. It's really about getting into um, the industry or the part of the industry that I want to be in, and that's more fashion, um, big fashion, and like what's the best way to explain it? I'll come back to that in a second. But for me, if I have a client and I'm too busy, I have no problem like sending a referral. Like
Uh-huh.
I'm the king of a referral. If I
Do you
can't
take a
do it,
referral fee?
nope.
No, just straight
Because
connections.
yeah, it's not even about the money. Because it's here's the thing. Because in my mind, I'm just like, if those people that I'm referring them to, if they run into a situation where they can't do it, I'm open to send them my way too. Whether they do or they don't, that's okay with me. But I kind of just treat it in the aspect of just like, hey, I'm not trying to hog everything that's going. Because for one, I'm not trying to run myself to the ground. Um, but yeah, I do have another business for photography and media, and what is for weddings. And what we will do is, if there's a certain wedding or something like that, and we can't do it, we will delegate that to other people and take a percentage from that. But for my personal business, we do. I don't do that.
Hey, that's the big money, huh? Weddings.
Yes,
Man,
absolutely.
when I got married, man, y'all charge way too much.
Did we?
Yeah. Photographers and videographers. Nah, my wedding video came out like brilliant though. Like I love it. And it's like an hour long, like
Mhm.
it's really cool. So I actually think that was probably the most well spent money along with the food. Everything else, flowers, terrible. Like, they be charging crazy. But
Mhm.
yeah,
I
man.
just tell people to elope and hire
Yeah.
hire a team.
Yeah. Is that kind of like your bread and butter of where your money, your income comes from?
Since we just started that business, it's still starting up. So,
Okay.
but we've already booked two weddings, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, but I think once we get it going, I think it will be because ultimately I'm trying to be able to determine my own schedule and kind of move on my own accord. And if I can make money without really having to do anything, that's going to be the key to it.
There you go. There you go. So how many years have you been doing photography?
I started back in 2013, 2014. So
Yeah.
basically 9, 10 years.
Yeah. So you're pretty deep in. How long would you say it takes for someone to learn photography, videography, to have a good basis of starting? Like, you know what I mean? Like how
Mhm.
like a lot of people say, all right, it takes 10,000 hours to master something. Obviously, you're still learning stuff in photography. Things are changing, technology changes, but how long do you
Mhm.
think it takes for someone to study it and know what a camera is to do their very first shoot?
Um, so let me speak. I guess if someone's super dedicated to the point where like they're not half-assing it and they're really interested in learning, I think you can. Because here, put it in perspective. I've only been doing video for maybe a year and a half, too, but people don't know that
I didn't
because
know
it
that.
looks a lot better than what it was. Um, but I think if you use your resources right and you really kind of dive into it, a year, maybe two, you can be great at it. But it's really the big thing is understanding like the fundamentals as much as you can.
Mm,
As if you master the fundamentals, everything else is going to come smooth because you're just adjusting your fundamentals to fit what you're trying to do.
yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, okay. Are you So out of college, have you only been doing photography and videography for like income, or did you have other jobs? Tell me a little bit about that.
I had other jobs for sure, for sure.
What
So
were your other jobs?
um, funny enough, I never worked full time until this year. So out of college, I was at Best Buy, slinging cameras, you know, selling people dreams. And then I went from there to Apple. And everything was very meticulous because when
Like
I
the
worked at
Apple
Best Buy,
Store? Like
yes.
okay, cool, cool.
So everything was very meticulous. When I was at Best Buy, that was the perfect time to get my first big boy camera, which was my A7 II. I
Big boy.
spent that, and I think I bought like an 85. It was like the camera was 2000 and the lens was 2000. Like it was a purchase, but I got a discount because of Best Buy. And then
Ooh,
I was to the point where I needed a new computer. So when I started working at Apple, I was just like, I'm just gonna milk this until I get everything I need. So now I have every Apple product that you can think of.
that's
Got it.
so
And when
funny.
they came out with the newest computer, the laptop with the with their new chips. Got that, and I was like, all right, cool. It's time to go because I know this computer going to last me at least 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
So my current job, I actually work in a photography studio for a very big fashion brand. I don't want to say just in case I have to talk about them later. But I will say that it's been a very enlightening journey, and I made a lot of people because of that. But I'm basically working full time in that industry now, photography and video.
Okay. And well, like, I guess, how's like the pay? Is it like on commission? Is it salary?
With where I'm working now,
Yeah.
salary.
Salary. Nice. And how'd you kind of
Mhm.
score that?
Just applied, and I have the resume and the portfolio man. Plus, I work at Apple, so it was one of those things like, oh, you can shoot very nice, and also you have experience fixing computers. Because when you tell people that you work at an Apple store, specifically you're a genius at an Apple store, people just start thinking about questions that they just things that need to be fixed.
Yeah. Man, speaking of stuff, my computer shut down like 2-3 days ago. I was
See,
sitting
this is
there
where I'm at.
stressed, man. I was sitting there stressed. This is my third MacBook, man. My first two MacBooks, I spilled water on them. Can't repair those.
Mm,
Terrible. This one though, it was just I'm running out of storage. So every time I'd like try and do something, it would freeze and then shut down. And
yeah.
I had to boot it in safe mode, clear my files, and it took me literally 7 hours to figure it out in Google and YouTube, so I didn't have to go to the Genius Bar.
We
Yep.
appreciate you taking the time to figure it out.
Because y'all would have did it in like 2 minutes, and y'all would have charged like $300. But I was
No,
like, I probably would have paid it because I was freaking out. I had a real estate deal going on at the time. I'm like, I need to send this contract out. Like, it was crazy, but I'm cool
I
now.
think the funny thing is, and this is just because I'm not advocating for Apple, but I think when it comes to the Genius Bar, people really think bad of us, thinking that we're here for your money. If it's something we can fix without changing a part, we don't charge you nothing.
You know, that's actually very true. Sorry I misspoke because you guys have done that for me years ago with a phone. Like you go in
Hmm.
there and then they're like, "Oh, all you got to do is just this." And it's like, "Okay, what's the
We'll
cost?"
check it in, spend
Yeah.
days with it, and
Yeah.
charge you nothing. If it doesn't, if we didn't have to physically do anything to like repair it, it's free.
Yeah. That's cuz y'all got Tim Cook as a CEO and he's a
Yeah,
great CEO, so the thing about Apple is like it's the Apple brand. Like people want it no matter what. So if you're giving
exactly.
them free service, like, oh my God, that makes me want to go buy something from Apple because I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I'd rather spend my money buying something instead of fixing something, right? So
Right.
but yeah, that was kind of a little off tangent. We got,
Nah, it's
but
okay.
um I want to move on to the Hella Misguided segment where I ask the same question to each entrepreneur and business owner that comes up here. That question is, if you were to write a letter to your 18-year-old self, what would a summary of that letter be?
What would a summary of that letter be? Um, I think the biggest thing I would probably tell myself is that for one, um, the things that you think you need to pay for, reevaluate them. For example, college in itself, I have a degree in audio, but I truthfully and honestly, out of even with my degree in audio engineering, I never walked into a studio and been like, "Hey, where'd you get the degree from?" They're just like, "Hey, can you do the job or not?" I think I honestly could have spent that time just investing in myself and really learning the process on myself, which actually is what I did with photography because I have no background study in photography. So I would just tell myself, like, hey, the things that you think you need to pay for and to get to where you need to be, just reevaluate and spend time learning the process rather than just thinking that you just have to pay somebody to teach you.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And sometimes you do have to pay for education, right?
You do.
Sometimes you might have to pay for a book, you might have to
Mhm.
pay for a course or whatever, right? But I mean, YouTube University is free, right?
Right. Manage your investments. Think about your investments. I think
Yeah,
that's the really big thing.
absolutely. And you know, back I guess I would have told my 18-year-old self is like very similar to you as far as know where you spend your money. Like I was out there as soon as you get a good job out of college, you know, you're like, oh, I got money now, and I'm just spending money at bars, on girls, going on
Mm-hmm.
5 dates a week, like ridiculous, right? And I wish I would have like learned about real estate or learned about stocks earlier, and I'd be well off. Learned about Bitcoin, right? If, oh my God,
Right.
if I knew Bitcoin 7 years ago, I would have invested all my money. And so that's like why I started the podcast, is just because there's so many mistakes we make early on. And a lot of us wish we had that mentor mentee relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have that, you know? So there's a lot of mistakes I made early on.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, same. Cool. Um, yeah, man. So tell me a little bit about kind of what a day-to-day looks like for you.
Well, Monday through Friday, I'm definitely in the photography studio, so that's kind of mundane. Only thing that makes it doable for me is that I'm seeing different people. Like the models we kind of pull from everywhere. We've met people from every part of the country, and I think that's a really cool part. And then on the weekends, those are the times I'm focusing on my business. So I'm typically planning Monday through Friday, trying to figure out which shoot I can do this weekend, or if I need to push them, this, that, and therefore. Um, and then when those weekends come, it's really kind of just like a nonstop process. But I'm also married, so I'm also like managing like married life as well. So it's just like trying to find the time for everything is that's the hard part.
You got any tips? Because I'm married as well, and I be focused on all my 7 different businesses and trying to find time with my wife. I also got kids, so
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I think for me, what's stuck because it's something that's had to become a big focus. It's just setting time aside. So whether that means if I'm looking at a weekend when I don't have anything scheduled, just putting up a schedule block. Think that is something that I'm doing as well. But also just like learning to just take time throughout my work week to just step away. Because honestly, the work is always going to be there. Like I tell my wife, I'm like, I'm always going to have something to do.
yeah.
But if we need to spend time, if we want to spend time, let's do it now.
Yeah, no, that's bro. Like you're spot on. I literally, me and my wife, I'm a huge calendar guy. Like if it's not in I stick
Same.
by the calendar. Like that keeps me motivated. It keeps me knowing my time management, and it just keeps me ahead of the game and organized. And so like I'm like, babe, you want a date night? Put it in the calendar. So literally we have a
I'm the
date
same
tonight.
way.
Yeah, we have a date tonight. A huge text that says date night, and I put like we're going at like 3 p.m. and then I got nothing scheduled after 3 p.m. until like maybe 9 or something. But like, yep. So stick by the calendar. It's really helped us. She has an invite. It's been in both of our calendars. And then
Hmm.
we do the same thing, kind of like scheduling my me time and her me time. So if she's like, hey, I want to go to the gym, she'll send me an invite via calendar. I'll look at my stuff. All right. It's
Maybe I
free.
should do that because right now we just share a calendar. So sometimes I'll add something or she'll add something and it doesn't get seen.
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe I should start doing that.
She's in our invite today. If you look at our invite, it's you're probably like, who the hell is that? It's my wife.
I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be my like my transaction coordinator, right? Like my virtual assistant. But nah, yeah, everything pretty much. So that's definitely helped us. But how long have you been married, man? Congrats.
This year will be 4 years in November, so we just passed our 3 year.
Hey, how long were you guys together before?
About a year and a half.
Oh, that's pretty quick. That's quick,
It
man.
was because it could have
Oh,
been longer, but
she
like
said it wasn't quick. Cause she back there like, nah, that took forever.
no, no.
That's
I
cool.
feel like it's once you know, you know. So
Yeah, where'd you guys get married?
we got married in her hometown or where I went to college at. So
Okay.
she's actually from where I went to school. So
Nice. That's really cool. That's really cool. I am I'm a little bit more than 6 months now, but we got married in June of last year.
ooh,
Yeah, so
congratulations! So it's fresh.
yeah, but we've had like our son is 3, so
Okay.
you know, I think like having a son or having a kid is totally different than marriage as far as a more not a burden or anything, but it brings y'all together and y'all have to work through problems more than a marriage. Like a marriage is just right in the beginning, it's just a paperwork. Like people
Hmm.
ask, oh, like how do y'all feel now that y'all married? I'm like, I feel the same. Like it's just we got paper now, You know what I mean? Because we've been together for 7 years, right? So
That's exactly true. I tell people that too. I think it really doesn't feel different until you have those life changing moments, like having a kid or getting your first house together, things like that.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Do you guys own or rent where you're at?
We are renting right now. I
Yes,
would
we rented. Like you plan on buying a home soon or what?
I would love to buy a home. I really just want a place where I can just set up a grill and just barbecue.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really, but I mean, the way the housing market in general is just not a fun place to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nah, it's pretty scary. Well, if you have any questions, let me know, man. I'm a realtor.
Yeah,
So if you have any concerns or whatever, I'm here to help. Cool. Like, so tell me a little bit about we got the photography stuff. What else are
mhm.
you doing? Is there anything else that you're doing? Do you like stocks? Are you invested in stocks, crypto,
Uh,
NFTs?
Definitely not NFTs.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
I was doing crypto for a little bit, but I think that's one of those things where you really because the cryptos and stocks, it's just like they're similar, but they're very different for me. Cryptos are one of those things where you really need to watch like quite often.
Yeah,
When I'm doing stocks, it's just like you're basically putting your faith in the company. And I
yeah.
feel like I just couldn't get the research I wanted with crypto, so I didn't really dive too deep into that. And plus, it's not going well for you know what I'm about to say.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so right now I do have some stocks. That's something that I just push a little bit, you know, try to be on a consistent basis just to kind of have in the future. Because I think right now stocks are very low, and a good place to kind of get in because at some point this stuff has to go back up once everything levels back out. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
What's your favorite stock?
Ooh,
Man, you should have said Apple so quick. I was waiting for you to say Apple. Apple's like the
uh,
best stock, man.
Apple is definitely at high on that list, simply because working for them as a company, I see how they grow, but they do have the growth trend is kind of like leveling out a
Hmm.
little bit, just because we're getting to a point where like, oh, it's a new phone. What does it do different? And even as an Apple employee, next Apple employee, I gotta be like, the camera's a little different, and that's really it. So it's just
Yeah.
like I'm putting little bits into these companies because it's just like it's a slow growth. I mean, right now I actually have quite a bit in Google,
Okay.
um, just because I feel like that's one of those companies where they're always acquiring different assets, and they're finding a way to grow. I think Apple's working on that too, but they're way more meticulous than companies like Google, and Amazon. They're very those two companies for me are they're very forward. They get it done if they want to get it done, and if they crash and burn, they're like, "Cool, on to the next."
Yeah, not facts. I like Apple and Microsoft.
Mhm.
Um and they're just very stable. Like I know if I put my money in there, even in a down market, I'm still up. Whether it's a
Right.
dollar or two, like I'm still up. Like that's crazy. So I really like those two. But then I also like taking little chances. Like I took I like this was like 6 years ago when I didn't even know what investing was, but I invested in AMD when it was like 11 9 dollars.
Man,
And
you're
like
doing great now.
well, it was only a couple. It wasn't, I was young. Like I probably would have invested everything, but I had read an article and I was like, "Ooh, this is the future. Let me throw like $100 in there." Right? That was it. I would have invested like 20,000 if I could, right? But it's cool to see that like it actually
Mhm,
works. It works, right? You just got to
mhm,
be meticulous about it. You have to study and know what you're doing, and it's all a risk, obviously, but
and learn how to leave it too.
yeah, man. Oh yeah, I actually never. I don't think I've ever sold anything. I haven't sold one stock actually.
Oh, that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
actually impressive.
yeah. My plan is to leave it there for like 20 plus years. So and I have like probably like 5 broker accounts where I have different accounts. So yeah, I've never sold a stock. I just like I'm a long term investor, man. Whatever I do, if I whether it's like any of my businesses, let's just say Airbnb, for example, like I never touch
Mhm,
those accounts. Those whatever I generate,
So
it
even
just
if one of
stays
them
in there.
just outrageously blew up, like I can retire right now, kind of blew up, you still gonna let it sit?
No, I'd probably diversify. So if it blew up like
Okay.
that, I'd probably put it into something else.
Hmm.
Like I'd either invest in the business again and buy more Airbnbs, or I'd buy like a safer asset, a real estate, or I'd
Hmm.
put it into like stocks or something, right? And just
Okay.
diversify it. But yeah, that's a good question, man. Good question. So like, is there what else? So you got stocks. Is there any like hobbies you do? Gaming. You mentioned gaming in college. You still do that?
Yeah. If I need to decompress, I have my PS5.
Hey,
Literally,
have you watched The Last of Us?
I feel like I get this question quite a bit. I hear it
Really?
all the time. I have
Ah,
not watched The Last of Us. I have not played The Last of
you
Us.
got to throw your PS5 away right now because you're not a true gamer. Are you kidding me?
Look, man, I'm playing Hogwarts.
I'm no, you did not. That's funny, man. Nah,
It's
man.
actually on my list to play. It's just I'm one of the type of person, if I'm playing a game, it's like I kind of stick to it until
Yeah.
I'm done.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was kind of like that with Gears of War back in the day. I was like
Hmm.
that. Call of Duty has always been my favorite. But man, The Last of Us. Gotta play the game and then you gotta watch the show. The show is crazy.
I hear
Crazy
about
good.
it every day at work. I promise you.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's literally like the game, and it just brings back money memories because the game came out a while ago. So it's like now we're
Hmm.
older, we're like, oh damn,
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So that's really cool, man. Well, I appreciate this conversation, man. It's been really cool. Is there anything you want to say to like the audience as far as people wanting to look into starting a business?
Oh man, I think if you're looking to start a business, I just say do your research and ask people that are in that business about it as well, because it's just like when you first tell yourself, "Oh, I can do that," you really aren't thinking about everything that goes into doing that. Like, I think, for example, when I first started doing video, um, just the process of planning, like it takes a lot of capital to put together like a video. Um, Finding the location, any props, actors, all those people have to be paid, catering, all of those people have to be paid. And it's just like it looks easy when you see the final product, but there's so much that goes into it. So I think if you're wanting to start a business, just make sure that you're talking to people in that industry. Or, I mean, YouTube, great resource for everything because there's someone out there that's talked about it at some point.
Yeah. How important is networks in your space?
Networking is everything. And if you're wanting to be any creative journey, whether you're doing music, you're doing photo, video, acting, in that creative element, networking is pretty much 90% of what's going to determine if you're going to make it or not. Simply because just knowing the right person will get you through doors that you just didn't know existed.
Yeah. How disciplined do you have to be when budgeting as like a self-employee? Well, now you have salary, so it might be a little bit easier. But
Mhm.
before you got this job, how was it not knowing when your next check is coming, and then when it does come, it's like, all right, damn, I'm a little bit late on this. I got to go pay that off. I got to do this, and then what are you left with?
I think it's always going to be kind of a game because you're I think I'm in a point where I'm trying to budget, but I'm also trying to build.
Hmm.
And it's just like starting just because I started video, there's still I feel like a lot of things that I need in order to get to where I want. So it's just like if I get something, I'm just like, okay, I think it's time to make that investment. I'm doing that. But I think the real thing is just to kind of be smart about what you're spending. I don't really like if I'm buying something big, it's not something that I can't make money off of. Like
Hmm.
if I go out and I'm spending like I just bought a drone. So now I'm going out with drones and I'm doing videos for stock footage. So I'm putting them up for stock footage. So they'll make money while I'm not even using those clips. It's just like they're making money on their own. I really think it's just like spend money on things that are going to be investments to you. Um, and then just save as much as you can because you never know when something's gonna.
Man, that's facts, man. That's absolutely facts. I actually learned that the hard way. Kind of like I said, I made a lot of mistakes as growing up out of college, spending too much money, and
We
then
all did.
Yeah. I had actually in the last 2 years, I had lost my job twice.
Mm,
One was in 2020. I lost like my good job at Coca-Cola. Um, because of the pandemic, right? And then um, I had became a real estate agent. Some that like, oh, I love real estate, but I love it on the investor side. I was like, oh,
right.
how can I help people? You know, because like people need to know this. How do they not know this? Like it still like bothers me deep down inside when people come to me and they're like how much money do I need to put down? Or like, what is a home inspection? And I'm like, oh my God, like
Mm.
this should be taught in school, right? So like really pissing me
Finances in
off.
itself should be taught in school, but
Facts. So I like got into this. I got into real estate, and I found this real estate tech startup company called Fly Homes. They're like
mhm,
Redfin 12 years ago, and then they're super startup. But then this recession, right, has been hitting, and they did a layoff back in July. I made the cut. I was like, ooh, all right, but let me start saving some money because I know
mhm,
the economy is only going to get worse, and they're probably going to do another cut, even though they promised they wouldn't. And sure enough, they did a cut. I thought they were going to do it in December. They ended up doing it in November and cut off like 60% of their employees. And so that was the second time I got laid off in like 2 years, literally, from
mm,
like W-2 salary employed. So now I'm just 1099, right? And I've been 1099, like, I have my businesses, but those are in different accounts. I never touch those,
right.
remember, right? So this was like a huge shift for me mentally, physically, everything, right? And crazy part is like, man, like 2 days ago, one of my accounts got down to like $83. And then the
Mm.
very next morning, $8,000.
See,
Hard work, right? You
that's how it
gotta
works.
know how to balance. They call it in real estate the peaks and
Valleys.
valleys, peaks and valleys.
Mhm,
Yeah. So like, as I say all this to say, like, as an entrepreneur and self-employed, you really have to be disciplined. And that's why I asked you that
mhm.
question, like, how disciplined are you in your budget? Because if you're not, man, self-employed ain't for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You'll figure it out the hard way, as a lot of
you'll
people
rock your
do.
way out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, facts. Yeah. Especially in married life, because my wife loves to spend money. So
Thankfully, I don't really have that problem, but look, I mean,
yeah. Facts. That's cool, man. Well, Anthony, it's been a pleasure, man. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. This has been an amazing conversation. How can people find you?
yeah, you can pretty much find me on every social media platform at I am a Ferrell. So, um, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, everything's all that.
Nice, nice. Cool. Well, we're gonna hang up this episode, but before we go, I like to end the episode with a segment called Guided Conclusions, where I ask a question to each person that comes up here. And that question is different. We haven't talked about it previously to this recording. It could be
Okay.
serious, it could be sad, it could be funny, it can make you cry. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You have to choose one photo out of your whole catalog to submit to, I don't know what like the Grammys of videography is, but you have one photo to submit to, like, this could change your life if a commercial accepts it or something. What photo are you submitting? And you could send it to me and I'll post it on the YouTube as well.
That's such a great question. Um, I actually think I know. Back in I think 2018, I think that's when I really started to find myself creatively and what I wanted to do creatively. So I started a series called Black Love. Um, and this was something where I was kind of in a time where just like I don't know where I'm going creatively, and I feel like I don't know where I want to be, but I just haven't felt it yet. And I think this particular project really sent me over the edge because this project wasn't just about the photo itself. It was kind of really more about a feeling. And I wanted to kind of portray that love has many different characteristics to it. It's just like it's not just always going to be lovey dovey. There's going to be, instances of pain. There's going to be instances of just like where you need to support the other one more than the other one supporting you. And I think this series alone really just the start of that really sparked my interest as to where I wanted to be in the industry. But it's basically, funny enough, this series is between two people who had never met before, but the chemistry that you see on camera is really just it's amazing, and I have a whole series dedicated to that.
Is
But
it
I'll
a
send
videos or photos?
it's a photo.
Oh yeah, send this to me. That's dope. That's such a dope idea. And like the
Mhm,
fact that they never met before, but you're saying that
mhm.
chemistry is like really on point. I want to see
The
this.
chemistry, it looks amazing. So I'll definitely send you a photo. I'll actually send you the series and just let you look at it. But it was what really catapulted me into my creative journey, like where I wanted to be.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I love when a person can tell a story, right?
Mhm.
And it seems like you're doing a really good job of that. So, hey, Anthony, thank you for coming up here. You guys heard it here.
Hey,
This
thank
is the
you.
Miss. Yeah, of course. You guys heard it here. This is the Misguided Podcast, where we intend to guide you to a better future. Again, I'm sitting here with Anthony Ferrell. Make sure you go follow, like, subscribe this episode, and we'll see you on the other side.